There's opportunity everywhere if we look in the right places or we know how to find the solutions. We can think back to season 1, episode 9 of Rick and Morty and how the devil in the series that Summer was working for, he was selling cursed items, and it was a completely free store, and nobody would be like, oh, why would I go to some other store where I have to be charged money when I can have this said free item that's right in front of me? And that's where Rick came in, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to use science. I'm going to use the knowledge that I have to be able to create a store that is able to compete with, say, the Devil's store or with the free item store. And he did it at a better cost because he removed all the negative aspects from the said disease or the said product or whatever it may be. So people were coming in the store and like grabbing all the free stuff from like him, and then they'd bring it over to Curse Purge Plus, and then they would have their curses removed from the said item. I found that really fascinating and interesting, and it was something that I wanted to share with you. There's a couple of other episodes and points that I'll also be relaying as well too. This is a little prelim to those upcoming episodes, so just make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of that. It's completely free. Just click of a button. There's a couple of things within Season 1, Episode 9 that matched up with Season 4, Episode 4, and I just wanted to share those things and give you a heads up that will also be coming here in the next coming days or weeks or whatever it may be, whenever I end up looking at my notes and getting it done. But basically, it's just like there's always going to be a problem and a solution that need to be solved, and that's exactly what Rick ended up doing. In the series, like, the devil created a problem where he was giving these people cursed items that then they would have to pay with certain things that are other than money. And then Rick was like, you know what, let me cure this because screw you, like I'm God and you're the devil basically. And he did that by removing the cursed items, and then the people were able to keep the special traits of like shoes that now all of a sudden the said thing that cost maybe $5-10 or was completely free and would like make you run forever in the past, like the running shoes, now they become $1 billion. Or like the boxing gloves where it's like these will make you a world star boxer, but they're also going to bring you back in time, which is funny. If you catch that in the episode, if you go back and rewatch season 1 episode 9, Rick is always like talking about how he's like he doesn't mess with time travel, but that's the one point in the series that I have been able to catch so far where there was a time travel reference about the dude putting on the boxing gloves and going back in time. But now, like after Rick removed the curse, all of a sudden those boxing gloves were now able to be used as like pure boxing gloves, and they can compete with like Mayweather and all these other competitive athletes. I just find this very interesting because maybe there's other courses or schools or programs or information out there that you're watching and listening to that is like maybe just a ripoff of another information or another story. And I'm going to also be doing a video on Fallout as well too, because there's some meaning in there that I'd like to share that I find incredibly useful. It's kind of around a philosophical approach, which I didn't even know to begin with, which is super fascinating. But it's just like I like seeing these things because there's always opportunities even when it doesn't seem like there are opportunities, and there's going to be people, and this is something that I need to apply to my own individual life. And the reason I'm sharing this is because after I stared at a wall today, I stared at a wall for about 3 hours. It's just like I've been doing these videos for me to help me out, but in a sense, if you've watched other videos of mine, that means that I'm also helping you because like you are me and I am you, and we're all just like experiencing life just in different forms and different expressions, because there's those 3 different levels that I've talked about in different videos, which I'll touch on them briefly. It's a yogic Hinduism concept where it's like you have matter, like your desk right in front of you, then you have energy, so like energies can be thought of as like wavelengths that go like across like the world, like how you're watching TV or listening to this video, like that's energy exchange in itself. And then but the very top is the thing that happens when like you're in dreams or you are just like in the essence of like watching a sunset or something like that. It's just pure and utter consciousness, and that's all there ever truly is and ever will exist. So it is me just relaying this information to another version of myself on a different part in their life or in your life, which is interesting. And some people may think that's a little strange, but if you've experimented with it and you've been with me up until this point, you are understanding these concepts by now. So it's just like when I share these ideas, it's helping me come up with clear ideas so that I can say make more money or increase the views or increase the amount of people that are watching or put out different types of content or whatever it may be. Because like these shows that we watch, and I've talked about this in other videos, but I'll relay the point again, is that they have hidden meanings and hidden lessons. If you listen and you look close enough, it's the same concept with the Bible. There's this photo that goes all the way back in time. I can't remember the exact photo, or if I can find it, but it was from a Jordan Peterson lecture that I remember watching. And there's a photo of this, it's from the book of Genesis. And there's all these lines that are from like one specific line like one specific phrase within the book of Genesis, and it's like it can be interpreted in like 100,000 different ways. It's really interesting and crazy to see. And that's exactly how like these jobs, these businesses work as well too, is like just because one person has been doing it this way, like the devil's giving away free items or whatever it may be, then you can come in and you can cure the same thing that the person's doing for free in less time, and you can charge twice as much. So it's an interesting concept that I'm going to be experimenting with, because right now I'm looking at getting either, I don't know, like I love making these videos. I just need an income, dude. Like I haven't had an income for the past 6 months, which I'm entirely grateful for, and I'll do a video on that maybe here coming up soon as well too. But it's just like understanding that one problem, one sentence can be interpreted in 100 different ways, and it's just a matter of you solving the problem better than the other person is solving the problem. So even if they are giving away something free, but like you don't act on it because you don't have skin in the game or whatever it may be, like I was talking about early at the beginning of the episode, or it's like you can subscribe to the channel, but that doesn't guarantee you any sort of success. That's not going to guarantee you any sort of change in your life. That's not going to guarantee anything to happen, because like you don't have any skin in the game. You have to have skin in the game to be able to want to increase, to be able to change like what you have going on, to be able to like improve at least like in certain realms. Like I know that's the reason why I keep making YouTube videos, is because I think I've talked about it here. I've made like I invested in a $997 course back in like 2019 or something like that. It was like back when I was 21, so 7 years ago. I don't know how long that would be. You guys can do the math down below. But it's just like when I invested in that course, I invested that money, so now I have skin in the game. And like obviously I just love making these videos and talking about this, even if it doesn't get hundreds of thousands of views, but I've shifted my thinking and perspective to like it's more about the quality, not the quantity. And it's great to be able to see that like this is what Rick did as well too within season 1 episode 9, where it's just like he found a problem where people are getting cursed items, and he found the solution that he was able to use through science. So he used that solution to be able to make a profit off of the items that people were getting for free. And I'm trying to think of something myself right now as I'm saying this, is like, what is the free item that I could like that somebody's doing right now where it's like, okay, I could use this free thing and then I can change it into a different like a solution, but have people pay for it, and I do it in half the time or something like that. Or instead of it being like a done with you, it's a done for you. Or instead of it being a done do it yourself, it could be like a done with you or a done for you or whatever it may be. So there's all these different perspectives that I could take or I could change. I just genuinely like making these videos and talking with you and sharing these ideas and thoughts, because like I have all this information, I just haven't seemed to implement it as much as, well, I guess I am implementing it through this. And I understand that like if I just pick up the phone too, I can close deals. Like that's no problem. My problem, and I guess it is a problem, but it's just like I just like doing the sales aspect and closing the deals. It's super easy and simple for me. I just want to do it for a company or product that I truly believe in, which is something that I'm working on and I've been thinking about for like the past 6 months, along with like healing and understanding like emotions and mental stuff. And I think I've talked about that in other videos as well too, so not going to dive into that all that much right here. But it's just like, it's interesting seeing how these concepts and these ideas are all around us if we just open up our eyes and pay close enough attention. It's just too often, too many of us, I know personally from my own personal experience, and it overcomes me still from time to time, we're blind. Like we don't know, we don't understand. It's not something that fully resonates or clicks within our own psyche, because we've just been preconditioned to believe that this is just how things are. And like when one person is, say, like in the anime niche or in the fitness niche or in a niche, by the way, is like a subset, a pond within a pond, or it's like a community within a community. So it's like anime is so like you could just do like a niche within an anime is just My Hero, or a niche within cartoons is just Rick and Morty, or a niche within like Rick and Morty is Rick and Morty fans that live within a 5-mile radius of Baltimore, New York City. I don't even know if those are the same places. But it's like it's a niche within a niche within a niche, and the smaller you get and the more defined you become, it's a lot easier to solve those problems because not as many people are. That's why my channel is the way that it is, because there's a very small subset of individuals that are wanting this type of thing and this type of content, but there are like other people out there that do, and that's why seeing how other individuals, say, work and do their business and like provide solutions, they started small. You can look at Jeff Bezos. He started out with books. You can look at Elon Musk. He started out with PayPal. I'm trying to think of other big entrepreneurs that maybe you know. I know a couple of them. Let's say Gary Vee. He started out with wine. Like there's all these other people out there that like they start out on a smaller scale and then they scale up from there. That's something that I always forget, is like finding the problem that somebody else is doing, start where I'm at right now, and then move on to something that's different. Like do it in half the time, because there's an equation to be able to provide value. And this is something that I'm surprised more people don't necessarily know, especially when I was doing sales. And like if you are trying to start a business or trying to do kind of what Rick did in season 1 episode 9, like value is determined by these 4 main principles, these 4 main like words basically. So like you can imagine like what would that be, a fraction, like a numerator and denominator. So like on the numerator up at the top, you have the dream outcome, and you want to increase somebody's dream outcome of, say, said likelihood of achieving said success or said dream. So if it's just like for you, it could be like being able to buy some item or being able to ask some girl out or something like that. It's like, okay, I can come in and I can increase the likelihood because I've been rejected by 100 women, or I've been rejected by 10,000 women, and I've gone out to the streets and I've asked them out, and like I've had all these conversations, and I found out the small little things that'll help you avoid all of your missed mistakes and missed opportunities, so that now in turn you can have a higher likelihood of achieving that said success, because you're avoiding all of the same pitfalls and slip ups that I did, and I'll be right within your ear to make sure that like I'm helping you and coaching you through the process of like what to say, when not to say it, like how to read the body language. And I can be like, hey, like she just played with her hair, there's something here that maybe not. So like that's the first part, is like how can I increase the likelihood of you achieving the said thing that you are dreaming to have. Rick did that with the items that he was selling. The next option is like the perceived likelihood of achievement. So it's just like, how likely would you be to achieve the said thing that I'm offering? And when I say offering, like the solution that I'm solving. So like, let's say you have a cursed item of shoes. What is the likelihood, the perceived likelihood, that I can use the skills and the knowledge that I have to achieve the outcome of this item not being cursed? Rick, he had 100% likelihood of achieving that said thing because he had done it for 100 people beforehand. So he had all of those testimonials. He had all that proof of concept for him to be able to do that. His first customer might have been a little bit weary, but like when he first showed Mr. Goldenfall, Mr. I don't remember, the dude that was celibate, Rick's teacher. It's just like, when he first like came back with the perfume, he's like, yeah, you made women irresistible to me, but you made me like infertile or celibate or whatever it was. Like he couldn't get it up to be able to perform. And then Rick comes in and he's just like, boop, I fixed it. And he's just like, okay, well, that's weird. And it's just like, the principle is like nothing to read into, back to the fact that very few people ask questions around these types of things. But it's just like Rick was able to change the perceived likelihood of that said event happening by just doing it for free for Goldenfold. And then once he saw that, like, this pisses off this other person. I'm not saying that this is the way you should need to do business or handle certain things, but sometimes it can be good to say, like, upset other people, because, like, he increased the perceived likelihood. And then once Goldenfold saw that, in all likelihood, he was like, Goldenfold, the president, went around to other people in town because he knew other people. And he's like, hey, you know what? This dude, like, he just there's this free, like, shop that gave me free items. And then this science dude, which everybody knows Rick, so it's just like they went to Rick, and then all of a sudden they solved the said problem that the cursed item bestowed upon them. So that increased the perceived likelihood of achievement, which added more value to the said outcome that they were looking for when they had that said cursed item, like the running shoes or the boxing gloves, like I was talking about earlier. And then it was also the time and effort required to have that said outcome. So it's like Rick was able to fix it like that. Like he just had to do a click of a button. He did a little bit of research beforehand. And then once he found like the solution or the problem that was laid right out in front of him, he was able to decrease and increase like the perceived likelihood of somebody not having a cursed item instantaneously. So as soon as they took it or used the curse, like, or even before they even used it, he was able to remove it so that it was able to save them time and effort, or time basically. And then the last one is like effort and sacrifice. Is how much time is somebody having to put into this said task? Like, is somebody having to step out and like look at this item and be like, okay, I have to sacrifice 10 years of my life to be able to overcome this said curse or whatever it is, or like I can just go over to Rick and I can just have it instantly fixed just like that. It's super simple principles. It's the same thing with like, let's say I help you out with coaching or like dating or career or whatever it may be. It's just like, I can do all of this for you without you having to physically lift up your phone and like enter in the email or the voicemail or whatever it may be, or it's just like you don't even have to write up your resume, you don't even have to make the calls, you don't even have to like post the stuff on Instagram. All you have to do is just like get a clip of it or have like send over the previous footage that you have to me, and then I'll incorporate that into like a social media post for you so that you can get more women, or you can have like a better job interview because now you have a different way of looking at the world because you were able to provide a different source of value than other applicants and other people were out in that said world. And I just find that incredibly fascinating because it's like all of a sudden you don't have to do anything, so there's no effort and sacrifice, so that increases your effort and likelihood of achieving that said thing. Like imagine this for like your effort and sacrifice, like back in the day, and maybe my audience is too young for this. I don't think so, but I mean, if you are, go ask your mom and dad like what Blockbuster was, or just Google it. I guess you could do that as well too. But like Blockbuster, there's a thing called Blockbuster back in the day. It was before Netflix, and you would have to physically leave your house to go get the said movie, and then you would have to come back home, put the movie in your DVD player, which I don't even know if you guys know what DVD players are either, but like you'd have to put that in your DVD player, and then from there you'd be able to watch a movie. Whereas Netflix, they removed that thing by first obviously having like movies that got sent directly to your house, and then they were also able to decrease the effort and sacrifice along with the time by just having you just log into Netflix and you can watch a movie in the instant, within the same instant, basically. Same thing with Amazon. Amazon did that with Prime. They did that with books. You can have the same item within the same amount of time. So like they didn't necessarily increase the dream outcome and the perceived likelihood of achievement. They just decreased the amount of time along, like the amount of time that it would take for the said item to get to you, or for you to have the said payment that you're looking for, along with decreasing the amount of effort and sacrifice that you needed to be able to achieve that said outcome, because you don't have to leave your house. You can go online and you can order something within Amazon by clicking 2 buttons, and then all of a sudden it's at your house within the same day. Especially if you live in a house or an apartment or wherever it may be, it'll get delivered directly to your door. Like this is what pizza places, delivery places, like all these places are all about saving time for you so that then you can consume more content. Because I just did a poll on the channel as well too, and I'll just touch on this and then we'll wrap up the video here. I know it sounded like at the beginning it was only going to be a minute long, but look at this, we're 17 minutes in. So I did a poll like asking how many YouTubers you watch, and it's like 4 to 7, and then was the main one of 29% right now, and then 12 plus different YouTubers was 71%. So it's like most people are watching lots of YouTubers, which I didn't even imagine or think about that. But it's just like, it's because they are giving you like time, like you're having to decrease your time of like having to feel or stare at walls, like I was talking about earlier today. Along with your effort and sacrifice, it's just a click of a button and you're able to watch and have this said feeling or this said experience instead of you having to like dwell within it for a certain period of time. And I find that incredibly insightful, along with just like overall impactful. So it's like being able to increase the value for the said product is exactly what Rick did within season 1, episode 9. It's the exact same thing that I'm doing with what I did when I was doing in sales, and why I love sales so much is because like I just get to provide value. I get to just talk with people. I get to figure out like, okay, what is their problem? How do I solve this problem? Okay, now that I know how to solve this problem, let's solve the problem to the best of the ability. And that's why it's like I have other people that I'm working on getting together that'll do like the fulfillment aspect for me, and I'm just able to do like the closing part and the communication aspect. I'm thinking it's going to be more around like some sort of social media, some SMMA type of content or something like that, because I've come to realize, dude, just over the years, like I would much rather, maybe it's just the community that I've surrounded myself with, but I like talking with certain individuals. That much I do enjoy. But I also just like being able to chill and just like sit at home and watch some, like binge watch a show or something like that. I used to shame myself for those types of things. But like if it's a good show and I do it every now and then, like I don't think it's as a bad thing, especially if I'm like quote unquote at the level of success that I want to be. And like if not, like I just get back to work and I work harder and I put out more videos and I try different things and I make different calls and like I just go off and do certain things, because like it's so easy now, dude. And I know I say this without maybe having the exact proof of concept behind me, but that's why it's just like getting that first client in the door and that first person is the most important part. Like I know how to sell and I know how to close. Like I was able to close $1 million deals because I used that formula that I just explained to you right there. And like people within the company that I worked for didn't even know the value equation. I'm like, how do you not know the value equation? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And there's one last thing that I want to add on to this as well too before we wrap it up, is like people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their fears, help throw rocks at their enemies, confirm their suspicions, and justify their failures. If you can do those set things along with the value equation, you can be a master salesman, you can be a master persuader, you can be a master negotiator, you can be a master at anything. It's exactly what Rick did. Like, he helped people with those 5 steps. It's what all these other successful individuals do. Like, they understand human psychology, they understand the needs of certain individuals, and then they go off and do that said thing. Wonderful. If you made it to the end of the video, click the subscribe button. It's free. I know it doesn't really add to your life, so if you're wanting to have a little bit more help and insight, you can email me down below or add yourself on Discord and we can chat on there as well too. Otherwise, have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk with you in the next video.